Chapter 2. Lord Maura wishes to be left alone, said the Zenite guard outside the war god's chamber. He's resting. Behind him was a set of tall double doors, inlaid with the war god's seal, two black swords clashing over a red shield. The symbol was everywhere in the Temple Ikari, on every door and the breastplates of every soldier. Fushi growled. I'm the war god's head instructor and one of his closest advisors. I have an audience with him whenever I please, you insolent fool. The soldier was taken aback by Fushi's biting response. I'm sorry, Master Fushi. Lord Maura insisted. Open the doors! The Zenite froze for a moment, afraid of what Fushi would do if he disobeyed. He turned, braced his hands on the doors, and with one firm push parted them, breaking the seal of Maura over his head as the hinges yawned open. The air outside the chamber seeped out, inundated with the scent of burning incense. It was a deep room, the bare timbers of the walls naked and exposed, the rafters overhead left uncovered. In the corners, braziers burned hot orange. Weapons of wood and steel decorated the walls, some ceremonial, others scarred by battle and war. Admiring them was like looking in a mirror to Fushi. A gold-plated set of armor surrounded by banners and decorative lanterns was the centerpiece of the left wall. On the right wall hung the skins of wild beasts, hunted and killed by Maura himself. The prize among all the decorations was a pair of tetraka saber teeth, the length of a man's forearm, one of them broken in 3 pieces, which sat on a pedestal as a trophy. Fushi remembered the day Maura shot the arrow through the predator's mouth, shattering the one tooth as it pierced its gullet, all those years ago. The back third of the chamber was a raised platform, hidden by rafter-draped curtains, crimson with intricately woven black thread borders. Fushi could see the war god's silhouette on the curtains, projected by the raging fireplace behind him, juxtaposed to the great double doors at the other side of the hall. Fushi stopped before a short set of stairs that led up to the raised platform and knelt on one knee, bowing his head. The heavy doors came to a close behind him, the sound reverberating through the chamber. Master Fushi, Maura said, his voice deep like a drum. His figure beyond the blood-red curtains turned and approached. What brings you into my presence? Lord Maura, the Great Mother has smiled upon me with victory. The heretics were caught as I pledged. Alive? They resisted, my lord, but I didn't dispatch with them before gleaning some useful information. What was their business in the city? Maura asked, as he now stood just past the curtain. They refused my questions, but I'm certain they intended to meet another of their cohorts here. The 2 we captured were from the north. Entasa, Maura muttered. One of his dark fingers touched the curtains where they parted. They rippled in silky waves. It is likely, Lord Maura. Maura's hands separated the curtains. A robe of red silk dangled down to the war god's feet, leaving his umber arms bare from shoulder to fingertip. Chains of bronze, rubies and onyx, hung about his neck. His head was shaven clean, as was his face. His image was that of a man in his prime, a god in human flesh. For 3 centuries that face had gone unchanged by age or blemish. Maura stepped down from the platform onto the highest step. Rise, my servant. Fushi stood tall, his snow-white face uncovered and exposed to the god of war. Whoever they were trying to meet may still be in the city. Has there been any sign or disturbance throughout the night? Maura asked. None, my lord. I've had sentries patrol the walls in every street. They're either not in our tour, or they've gone into hiding. They cannot stay hidden forever, given their recklessness as of late. Maura looked cockeyed at Fushi for a moment. You have something else to say? There is yet more unsettling news, Lord Maura, he said. It is in regards to the Kail boy, Tokara, the rebel-born. Maura's chin rose. Tokara Kail has my countenance, he said, forestalling Fushi's accusations. I am pleased with him. Has he done something to upset you? Fushi pursed his lips. I ordered him to slay one of the heretics, Lord Maura. He hesitated. The heretic said something to him and he froze. I ordered him again and he still did not obey. Maura squinted. What was it this heretic said to Tokara that would make him disobey you? A name, Fushi said. Talthalos. Maura licked his lips and then stroked his chin in thought. The father. The deceased rebel leader, Maura reminisced. The boy remembers? It's been many years. Fushi nodded. Yes, Lord Maura, he remembers. He could see Maura musing up an excuse. What of it? I would expect anyone to remember a deceased parent, even after so long, Maura replied. He sounded irritated. Tokara is one of my elect. He still has the clan blood in him, Lord Maura. He hasn't yet purged himself of it. Not entirely. Why don't you just say what you mean, Fushi? His class is to be commissioned within the next few days. He has proven to me that he isn't yet prepared for the duties of a Samanik, Fushi said. He paused to gauge Maura's reaction. The war god left him room to speak. I cannot endorse him to receive your blessing, Lord Maura. He has never been your favorite. Far from it. You've practically put him through torture since he was a boy. Fushi gritted his teeth. His treatment was admittedly unequal to that of his peers. I would argue that it was necessary, Lord Maura. The boy came to us at the age of 10. When most do so before age 8. He had grown up in the clans, with the heretics' teachings and their mindset. I had to make him forget that past and shape him into a loyal soldier. Maura held his hands out to the side. Then is this an admission of your failure, Master Fushi? If he has yet to purge himself of his past, as you say, aren't you to blame? You raised the boy. You brought him here. I did. And perhaps I am to blame, Fushi said, though he didn't believe that. It was more important to placate to Maura's ego than to defend himself. But regardless, it would be one mistake added to another to commission him to your service prematurely. Don't you think, my lord? Fushi studied Maura's response. The war god seemed to receive the comment the way Fushi had intended. Subtlety always wins out, he thought to himself. Let him think it was his idea. Fushi continued, I would recommend he remain in Ikari for at least 2 more years, to make up for the time he lost as a boy. Maura's eyes drifted to the floor. He nodded. So be it. He will remain here, but you will not. Fushi raised his gaze to the war god. The muscles in the back of his neck tensed. Lord Maura? Maura folded his arms behind his back. stepped down from the platform. Ren has sent word to me. The Great Mother has ordered you to leave my service indefinitely, and to return to hers. Your true master now calls you. Fushi sensed satisfaction in Maura's voice. The war god had wanted to be rid of him for some time now. Ren was the one who sent him to Atur, and now she was calling him back to her, where he belonged. I am your instrument, whose ultimate purpose is known to you alone, he prayed. When does she request I leave? As soon as possible, Maura said. He squared his shoulders with Fushi's. You shall cross the sea to Jushidon with the commissioned. Special arrangements have been made for you upon your arrival. Fushi nodded. I shall make preparations at once. Maura extended his hand, and Fushi kissed it, though reluctantly. He turned and walked toward the chamber entrance, thankful that he no longer had to remain in this place, that he no longer had to bother himself with such simple matters. Ren had greater things prepared for him. Master Fushi, Maura said, stopping him before he passed through the doors. Don't forget about the boy. He is still among my chosen and my elect. Do right by him. Turning back, Fushi forced a smile. Yes, Lord Maura. As he turned and left the war god's chamber, he muttered to himself, I will certainly not forget the boy.